moon lit up the still surface of Silver Lake as four friends swam late into the night. Mark, Kevin, Alexis, and Samantha had known each other since grade school and were inseparable. On summer nights when there was nothing good on TV, they would bundle up in sweaters and swim under the stars. Silver Lake was located deep in the woods, far from any houses or streetlights. It was the perfect, secluded spot for night swimming, free from distractions or interruptions. As the hours passed, the moon rose higher in the sky, casting an eerie glow across the dark waters. "I think it's getting late. We should probably start heading back soon," said Mark nervously. Though the woods were familiar to him, something felt off tonight. A cold breeze blew across the lake, raising goosebumps on his arms. "Ah, relax. What are you so scared of?" teased Samantha. She swam further from the shore, her pale limbs shining in the moonlight. Alexis swam up next to Mark with a mischievous grin. "Maybe he's afraid of the lake monster," she said in a spooky voice. "They say it waits in the deepest part, with slimy green skin and knife-sharp claws." Kevin laughed. "You guys are so lame. This lake doesn't have any monsters." He floated on his back, gazing up at the stars. "I could stay out here all night." Despite his friend's jokes, Mark couldn't shake the sense of unease that had grown stronger over the past hour. "Come on. I really think we should head back. It's going to be hard to see soon without the flashlight." Samantha sighed dramatically. "All right, fine. You scaredy cats win. Last one to shore is a rotten egg." She struck out through the water with powerful strokes. Alexis and Kevin quickly followed, but Mark lingered behind to ensure everyone made it safely. That's when he noticed it, a strange rippling in the water about 20 yards out. At first, he thought it was just duckweed or an overlapping reflection from the moon. But as he watched more closely, he realized it was getting larger, taking on the vague shape of something. "Guys!" Mark yelled in panic, splashing frantically towards the shore. His friends stopped and turned around, concern on their faces. "What's wrong?" asked Alexis. Mark pointed toward the strange disturbance, but it was harder to see now. Had he just imagined it? His heart was racing. "I thought I saw something out there, in the water." Kevin squinted into the darkness. "I don't see anything." "Me neither." "You're just freaking yourself out," said Samantha. But doubt flickered in her eyes as she gazed back at the center of the lake. A sudden splash made them all jump. At first, it seemed small, like a fish breaking the surface. But then another splash came, bigger this time, and closer. Something was definitely moving out there, cutting quickly through the ink-black water toward their little group. "Get out, now!" shouted Mark. Adrenaline surged through their limbs as the four friends scrambled frantically for shore. Another huge splash erupted right behind Samantha, and she screamed, propelling herself forward with raw terror. Finally, their feet touched the pebbly bottom, and they sprinted from the water, gasping for breath in the moonlit clearing. Heartbeats pounding in their ears, they peered out at the lake with wide, fearful eyes. At first, all seemed still once more. Then, with a horror that stopped their blood cold, a pale figure emerged slowly from the depths. It was a girl, or what remained of one. Her nightgown was tattered and bloated, clinging to her decomposing flesh like wet newspaper. Long, dark hair floated eerily around her head as her limbs drifted, guided by some unearthly force. Her eyes were all white orbs that seemed to stare endlessly into nothing, collective shriek rose from the group as the ghostly apparition floated inevitably toward shore. No one could move, paralyzed by primal fear. Inch by inch, she crept from the water, an undead banshee crawling up from the grave of the lake bottom. Just as skeletal hands breached the water's surface, something snapped the four friends from their trance. They turned and fled into the nighttime forest as fast as their legs would carry them, branches whipping past in a dark blur. Nothing followed or gave chase, but still they ran until collapsing breathless in a moonlit clearing, safe within a ring of ancient pines. Nobody spoke for a long while as they struggled to make sense of what they'd witnessed. Slowly, the horrible truth dawned on them. The apparition had been Clara Johnson, a teenage girl who'd drowned in Silver Lake over 30 years ago. Her ghost had remained tethered to the site of her watery grave, rising periodically to terrorize any souls unlucky enough to disturb her eternal slumber. From that night onward, the legend of Clara's ghost spread throughout the tiny rural community like wildfire. None dared swim her lake after dark ever again, and though the four friends eventually graduated and went their separate ways, one thing was certain. The memory of Clara's pale, petrifying visage would haunt their nightmares forevermore. The ghost of Silver Lake had marked them, a warning to all who dared trespass in her watery domain after the sun sank beneath the sky.